Digimarcon friends. We are live in Toronto in the podcast studio. I'm Dennis Yu, your host, and today we have Leanna Ling. She is the Facebook ads lead gen queen. I've known her for years. She's run some of the largest groups, largest communities. When people are looking on how to optimize getting leads on Facebook, they turn to her. And if you don't know who she is, then that means you're not a major media buyer. Because if you are a major media buyer, then you already know who Leanna Ling is. So welcome my Asian sister to the Digimarcon podcast.
Hey, I am excited to be here, and thanks for saying Toronto the way a native says Toronto.
And I wanted to ask her a series of questions for those people who want to become pro at lead gen in Facebook. And I think I ran my first Facebook ad in May 2007, 18 years ago.
Wow.
That was when things were the Wild West, and Zuckerberg and I have had a couple exchanges about this sort of thing. But things have changed a lot. The traffic cost more. All detailed targeting went away on Facebook. There's a lot of integration with your CRM because when the cost of traffic goes up, then everyone else is competing. The way Facebook does, the optimization and auto optimization sorts of things. You and I, we have a partnership with LeadsBridge, which is passing the lead information back to Facebook so it can optimize to a quality lead instead of just like crap leads. Because people would complain, oh, I ran ads on Facebook and the leads were crap. So they blame Facebook. But it's really because they didn't set it up properly. It's like blaming the scale if you're fat, right? So I wanted Leanna to help everyone understand if you're driving leads, B2B leads, consumer, e-com leads, whatnot, what's going on? What have you been learning? I want to learn from you.
Yeah.
Right?
So, one of the things that I've been noticing that's become even more important, especially in the past, I would say even like 3 or 4 months, is what you mentioned, making sure that your setup is as tight as possible. And by that, I mean making sure that you have, I don't want to get too technical, but just making sure that the simple code that Facebook gives you is on your website and that your website can speak to Facebook. If Facebook can't communicate with what you're doing and understand for you, this is what looks like a lead, this is what looks like a purchase, then it can't help you. So it's that I found is becoming more important because of how Facebook is evolving. So get that set up. The second thing is, you mentioned that, they've been taking away all our buttons and our detailed targeting, and people get very frustrated with that. We're running some ads for, say, home services, and they say, why is this call coming from out of province or out of state? And I say, because they've basically taken away those buttons, and if they have some there, it's more of a suggestion than that. But the good news is that it actually hasn't been fully taken away. It's actually shifted. And you and I have been talking about this for a while too, Dennis, is that it's actually shifted to the video, the imagery, and the words that you use in your ads. I don't know how many people know this, but that's actually how you communicate with Facebook. That's how you send signals to Facebook and say, hey, I want more of those types of people.
Yeah.
So if you want people who, if you want mothers, put in your imagery women with children. Okay? Use in your copy words and phrases and talk about things that mothers specifically, experience. It is smart enough to pick that up. I don't. Have you found that a lot of people are just doubting how smart the AI is now, and thinking, oh, it's not going to pick that up.
Well,
but
Facebook has copied a lot of stuff from TikTok, and TikTok does facial recognition and image recognition.
Mhm.
It recognizes who's in those photos. It recognizes who's engaging, just like YouTube's algorithm. But I think it's so part of it is that they don't understand how sophisticated the AI isn't optimizing for us, because it used to be like I'm going to feed it exact, because it was dumb and it has been dumb for many years. Where the algorithm's like, okay, you have to tell it exactly, moms that drive station wagons, that are 35 plus, that have 2 kids, but now, Leanna, like you said, the content itself does the targeting and the signal that we pass back. If in the data that's coming back, the quality leads, not just people who fill out the form, but different stages along the way, Facebook's going to find more people like that, even if we don't intentionally mention this. I think the biggest thing, though, is that you mentioned home services. So we work with a lot of roofers, plumbers, landscapers, these kinds, people in the trades. And for them, like let's say we have a roofer, for example, right? And there's hail damage, and now we got to replace all these roofs that were damaged. So so they would go to Google and they would, you know, roofer near me, roof replacement quote, roofer city name, residential roofing, and so that's a direct intent on Google where someone is looking for actually typing in roofing, plumber, landscaper, the electrician, broken toilet. The weather goes hot and their air conditioner breaks, and they type in air conditioner. Right? They type in literally what they want. They type in what they want on Google, but on Facebook, people are not typing in emergency plumber. My toilet is overflowing with poo poo or whatever it is. They're not instead of Google has been. It's not completely true, but for the sake of this discussion, Google has largely been here's what someone is looking for, what they're typing in. And Facebook has largely been who it is. So that roofer, that electrician, if we're running ads for them, I mean, we can say like free quote or whatever, but when someone's typing in emergency plumber, or I was in a car accident just now and I need, you know, orthopedic surgery, or I need a personal injury attorney because the accident just happened. I need to talk to a lawyer right now. That's demand bottom of the funnel on Google, but we're not going to run the same content on
Correct.
Facebook. If
Yeah.
I want to generate leads, right, I'd love to hear like what are you doing in home services, knowing that on Facebook and other social media, because people are scrolling randomly or whatever,
Mhm.
it's based on who they are. So you have to interrupt them in the news feed versus the direct intent when someone types in emergency plumber, help, my basement is flooding and I need, the pipes are leaking everywhere. They're not on Facebook scrolling. I mean, they are, but they're not typing.
Yeah, they're
They're
not
not
actually
pumping them.
typing in, I need an
So I
emergency
think
plumber right now.
that's the big
Yeah.
disconnect. I mean, yes,
Hmm.
they've taken away the targeting. A lot of things have changed in the
Hmm.
setup, and we got to push the data back and,
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest thing of people who are running ads on Facebook is this misunderstanding that Google is at the bottom of the funnel where it's largely search intent,
Hmm.
but then you're driving leads for home
Hmm. Hmm.
services. What are you doing to, because what are you doing to make the phone ring for home service
Right.
businesses
Yeah. With the
on
Facebook
social?
ads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the thing, and I'm glad you brought up that point distinction, because also what has become even more prevalent is not just the who, but also how that person behaves.
Yeah.
They're one of the newest AS Gem, right? It
Yeah.
looks specifically at the behavior. So you may not be typing in, I need a plumber right now because my basement's flooded, but it actually knows, it sounds a bit creepy, but they know your behavior that you probably tend to do while you're searching for
Yeah.
that and try and serve up those ads. So we'll do two things. Like one, we want to build up an audience that we can always market to, and we do that with dollar a day, which Dennis has been teaching
I built a
for.
whole career on this
Yes,
dollar a day thing. You Google
that's
my name on
that's
dollar a
right.
day.
So you build everything up at dollar a day, so you have an audience that you can actually market to. And then when you're actually doing, we actually do ads to say, hey, like, is there a hailstorm? So we'll know, we'll get notifications, right? Hey, there's been a hailstorm in this state or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we'll change the ads up to be like, is worried about your roof, not sure, worried about maybe there's damage to your roof. And I find that with those types of ads, you have to be, it's almost like you have to hit people over the head with that. You have to be very, very upfront.
Yeah.
Right? Like just, and I find that
Yeah.
the ads that are working best are the ones where you just put, like, you literally put the headline in the graphic. It doesn't even have to be like a fancy graphic.
Yeah, literally, roof damage, Omaha.
Yeah.
Like that. Here's
Yeah.
something that's worked well for me, and so it'll be like we've done it for like 100 chiropractors, right? There's agencies that each specialize, but it'd be like, spinal pain, city name, Bloomington, Indiana, right?
Mhm.
And so that way, when they see that, they don't think it's just like random stuff on social media. It's like, oh, that's my city. That's in front of a landmark that that's the mall that I go to. That, oh, I recognize that person. That's the mayor. That
Mhm.
And so you immediately localize it right from the very beginning in the most
Yes.
crudest TikTok like way with the big text across the top. So
Yes.
my buddy Brady Sticker does this for churches,
Mhm.
and what he's wrote a whole book on it. So it's not like I'm giving away any secrets, but he drives people into Sunday services and it says looking for a new home in, whatever city name. And people are like, oh, I know where that is. That's right next to the mall.
Yeah.
Right? And then, and so they run these videos of other people that are in that city. And what you said, like with Gem and these other pieces, when you have that, it's very clear this is exactly who this is for. Then Facebook can pick it up from that content.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll give one example. Sorry. I was just talking to my buddy Marco Cipolla this morning, and he does this for concrete coating companies. Like that's super specific. What is that? It's shiny garage floors, right? So people have a garage floor and they want to make it all nice, like metallic and colored. Like that's all the epoxy, that kind of stuff. He literally has an agency, and all he does is serve those companies that do the floor polishing and make it all nice. Guess what his cost? He spends millions of dollars per month just on that one niche. He's an agency serving these concrete flooring. He's got 120, 130 clients now. Guess what his cost per lead is?
$25, $30, 50.
Yeah, it's $20 to $40.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and there's one that's spending. I mean, there's a whole bunch of them, but most of them are spending like a couple $1,000s a month. Not big.
Yeah,
Budgets,
a lot of
right?
those, because a lot of those other businesses, they'll say,
So,
I'll
but
pay 500 for a
okay,
lead.
but let's say so. He was talking to me yesterday also about one. I don't want to mention the name of the company, but I think they're doing $21 per lead.
Wow.
Now, as a Facebook lead, that's someone filling out the form.
Mhm.
You still have to get them to an appointment, meaning someone comes out there, has to like measure the garage floor and then give them a quote and all that. So it's $20 for the lead, which is filling out the form and getting a phone number. What do you think his cost per appointment is?
500, 400.
No, it's
No?
triple that, 60.
Triple that.
$60 to get a
Wow.
technician out there, then to be able to measure and all that. And then these flooring companies, they always overestimate their close rate. So they always say like, oh yeah, I close like 2/3 of these. Really? So if our cost per appointment is $60 and you close 2/3 of them, then your cost per new customer is about $100. But actually they close like 30 to 40%. That's typical. I mean, you might have a really good sales team and you answer the phone right away, and you have good specials and you really commission them out and all that. But let's just say, you close at 1/3 to be conservative. That means your cost per sale per new customer is 60 times 3, which is 180.
Mm-hmm.
So $180 for a new customer. The average concrete floor is about $2,000, $2,500, because it'll be like, whatever, like $15 a square foot times however, like 100 square feet, or like 200 square feet, like $3,000, something like, it's all based on square footage times cost per square foot. So then if it costs $180 through Facebook ads. By the way, Marco's company, Coding Launch, only runs Facebook ads for concrete flooring companies.
Only Facebook.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. He doesn't do the Google ads. He doesn't mess with the website. Doesn't do email marketing. Doesn't do reactivation. Doesn't do like all these other things. There's all these other things like TikTok and YouTube, and just does the Facebook ads for concrete flooring companies. Let me explain, and I'd love to hear what you think. So, if it costs $180 to get a new customer paid, right? They put the credit card down, and the average job is about $2,000. That's a 10 to 1, 11 to 1 ROI. Spend a dollar, get $11 back. And because he did that for his first few clients, 5, 6, he actually started he actually had his own concrete coating company, and then he started an agency later.
Yeah.
Because he had to learn how to do the floors, and there's an equipment.
And you got to know the lingo. You have to know.
Like all these, like there's all the suppliers. Like I thought like a concrete floor, like you just pour some stuff and that's it, right? No, but apparently there's a whole way to do it with different layers, and it's not just epoxy and polyaspartic and whatever. So anyway, because he did that for the first 4 or 5 clients, he found he could reuse the same ads over and over and over again. So then he literally, and this is not like some industry secret, but literally just copies those ads for every single concrete coating company. And then he already knows what the stats are. Every time he has a new concrete coating company coming in, he's like, I've already run this for 140 companies. You can expect to have leads between $20 and $35. And then if your people close and show up and all that, then you should expect 50% of them will turn into appointments. 30 to 40% of them will close. Depending on how you price, your ROI should be about 10 to 1, right? And so his clients will steadily know that. And he's integrated with his CRM. So a lot of people, they'll use Salesforce or Service Titan is the big one. They're the biggest, they're 800-pound gorilla in the home services industry. But he's working with with a CRM that's just for painting companies or flooring companies. And because he knows how to measure the calls and all that from that one CRM, he's not integrating with 25 CRMs. There's the one CRM for that industry, which most the main one that people use in that industry. And so then he's built a whole business around that, all because of what Leanna talked about in the last couple of years, which is Facebook's targeting and ability to optimize, because he's done it for many concrete coating companies. His whole business is just scaling that.
Mm-hmm.
And he just keeps repeating that. Because if he were to try to do it for like every kind of random home service business, and they're all different, each has a different CRM, like a roofing lead versus an HVAC lead, like they're all different, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is a lead worth?
Yes.
But he knows exactly what it's worth for a garage floor concrete, like he knows. So he just does that over and over again because of how Facebook lets him scale. And so he's literally done that because we'll meet with a what was the one we were in Canada, and we met with as a different kind of painting company, and we didn't take them on because they didn't do concrete floors, right? I'm
Right.
curious to see like what
Right.
do you, are you experiencing that in what you're doing?
Yeah, like just to some degree that, and I mean, I really like how he's just very niche down,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's what you've touched on there, is that because he's using those creatives, I'm guessing in those creatives he's basically trained Facebook over the years to be
Yeah.
like, this is what you need for the concrete flooring. And because they were converting and he's sending good data, Facebook's thinking, oh well, every time people see these types of ads, they're going to get what they want.
Yeah.
So he's really playing into that,
Because the system already knows
Yeah.
what's driving leads for other flooring companies
Yeah.
in other cities. So when he brings on another client that's a concrete floor, we're visiting one together just for fun because I wanted to kind of see his process. But in a week, we're going to Kansas City,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a concrete, like, what do they do? There's probably like 100 companies that do the shiny concrete floors in Kansas City, but we're going to go visit one of them, and it's the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They're sending good signals back,
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
It's nuts because even I didn't know. Like, I used to be like the guy for Facebook ads. I don't know. Some people still consider me the guy, but literally, I've looked inside his campaigns, and it's just like, here's like two guys that are like doing the floor,
Mm-hmm.
and then here's a before and after, and here's some stuff where here's a bunch of different kinds of floors that they did in that city. So when they set up campaigns, they can reuse creatives that they've used, because when you use you have pictures and videos of floors, like they're all kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's just a garage floor.
But then when there's ideally pictures and videos of that contractor, you can use the same base creative, but then you say, in Kansas City, looking for a new floor in Kansas, in like huge words like Kansas City, and targeted the Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
In all his campaigns, I've seen nothing beyond just geo targeting.
Yeah.
And the
I believe
cost per
it.
lead's amazing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. I believe that.
So how
I
does
believe
how does
that.
Facebook know who wants a shiny garage floor in Kansas City?
Yeah. Yeah.
Random.
Because, yeah, but
Yeah.
then again, I think it's because they don't have all the data they used to have because of privacy.
Yeah.
So they're just got really good at looking at what people's behavior is.
Yeah.
And he's clearly trained them all. I've even done this for like non-local campaigns,
Mhm.
where I just take the same video and we just put across it, like, hey, New York, hey, Boston, or whatever, and it works. It does work. But by
Yeah.
the way, also, like, calling people out where they live, that's actually one of the exceptions in Facebook. You're allowed to do that. You're
Yeah.
not going to get shut down. So
Yeah.
use it like crazy across everything.
Yeah.
One other trick that I found too is, if you don't have people actually doing the work, you can also try using the like the welcome sign
Mhm.
to the town. That works really well. Or even just like the highway sign
Yeah.
with the sign going like Toronto. That's actually worked really well. Nice and
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah. I have a friend, his name is Brandon Cody, and he is in it's a suburb of San Francisco. It's north of San Francisco, Pleasanton. And he has in his office, he has a map of Pleasanton, California, for
Mhm.
example, right? And so he's making a video in front of the map is behind him. He's like, "Hey, Pleasanton, if you need," and he's a power washing company, so they clean your house, like they power spray your house because it's got dirt on it or something, right? Hey, Pleasanton, California, if you need your house washed, then call me. I'm Brandon Cody of professional power washing PPM, professional power washing maintenance, and it's literally that simple. I mean, this guy is not a Facebook ads expert. He's not. He's like a guy in the trades, blue collar. No offense, right? I mean, that's what these home services guys are like,
Yeah.
and that's what's driving leads.
Yeah.
No fancy ads, and on Facebook,
Yeah.
what we're
Yes,
talking about,
definitely.
right?
Yeah. On Facebook. Because I
Yeah,
think it's the thing is like it's social on there. And
yeah,
I've always felt that
yeah.
if you can advertise in there and sort of blend in,
Mhm.
I personally just think that I've experienced that you do have better results
Yeah,
long term rather than it looks like an ad. Look over here, it's an ad, right? That doesn't it's just that might get you some results quickly, but it's not gonna work long term.
it used to work because the prices were so cheap and all that, but
Yeah.
now we need the video. So we need these guys to say, you know, hey, Kansas City, are you looking for a new roof? And then it starts to show different pictures of roofs or different parts of Kansas City or whatever. And then that ad is a reusable thing that we can use for any roofer
Hmm.
in whatever city.
Yes. Yeah.
But the people that run in the ads don't realize you need these videos, you need pictures of you completing the work, you need to have, to your point, a call out in the beginning. So, hey, the big caption, hey, city name, just like on TikTok, you see that thing there where instantly people realize, that's, I live in that city. That's for
Yeah.
me.
Hmm.
Not some
Yeah.
fancy advertising kind of like
Mhm.
the crudest, the ugliest ads I find work the best.
Yes, they do. They do.
Yeah.
Especially the ones that you put out and you didn't even think they were going to work and you just put it out right to
You just let the
test.
results tell. Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
works. I have actually one that we've scaled up to when we've been running it probably maybe 6 months now,
Yeah.
and it's just a colored background
Uh-huh.
and a question. That's it. And what I did was I actually went into my Facebook profile and I picked all the colors that they have in the background there. So I
Mhm.
saved it in Canva
Mhm.
and I just recreated it and I just test all
What,
those different
what
colors.
kind of what's tell me more about the goals, content, and targeting of that campaign.
Yeah, so that one it's just broad. It's actually for parents,
Okay.
but so I just do I just obviously we do location. So this one is actually national.
Mhm.
So it's US.
Mhm.
It's a certain age group because I don't want 18-year-olds.
Okay.
And I just put parents. That's it. That's the
What's
only
what's being
targeting.
sold?
So this is a lead generation campaign, but what is actually being sold is a conference
Mhm.
for high achieving high school students. And what's interesting about them is they do a direct response, direct mail package afterwards. So it's a hybrid of like online and mail. But and I've tried so many different things. We've tried video, I've tried people talking, I've tried testimonials, I've tried like AI, fancy photos and stuff. The only thing that works is just direct.
Yeah.
Just direct one question. I've done the call out with different states,
Mhm.
and I'm just mimicking. When you do the text posts on Facebook with the
Mhm.
background,
Mhm.
I'm just mimicking that in Canva.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Because it looks like a native social
Yeah,
media post.
nothing beats it. And there's like you can see there's like hundreds of shares, like over thousands of comments on these ads.
And as you continue to run more traffic to that, it
Mhm.
builds all that engagement because then it'll say, because when you see something on Facebook, it'll say like so and so and so and so who your friends also like this. So it builds more and more proof.
Yes,
So the ad gets
yes.
more power instead of dying out.
Yeah. So
Right.
what I do is I ask the team to go in and make sure that they also reply to all the comments because
Yeah.
I find that. Do you find that that's one of the big mistakes I find people
Yeah,
make?
that's
They
huge.
ignore all the comments on their ads,
Yeah.
either because they don't want to see it,
Yeah.
but even if you see trolls and stuff there, you have to deal with it,
Yeah.
delete them, ban them, whatever. But
You do.
interact with them. We even put different tracking links for the customer service team to respond, and I've done it where the campaigns, and I could see all the conversions that came in
Mhm.
from those
Yeah.
links because so you're missing out.
That's really huge, responding to comments. Because if you're running this ad and someone comments, you know what, I tried your stuff and it was terrible, or I went to your restaurant or whatever it is, I tried your thing and it was bad. Now all of a sudden, and I've seen this happen so many times where people come to me saying my ad was working, but it's not, and then we figure out it's because people came in and saw that comment. Someone said, "Oh, I ordered your stuff before. I ordered steaks from your thing, or what? It was terrible, or they came rotten, or you guys were rude to me, and no one responded." That's huge.
Yeah, that's very huge. Like
Yeah.
either get rid of it or you can just I have seen a couple times where I actually respected the person more
Yeah.
when I saw how they
It's
responded.
just like reviews on anything
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
look at.
People say, "Hey, okay, you've got my business now because I saw you responded to
Yeah.
that."
So I was with my buddy George Leith a week ago in Vegas, and he's like one of the top people in the world of local lead gen. He's like you. I need to get you two together. He ran the sales for Vendasta, grew that company from nothing to like 300 million a year, and he taught me this thing he calls the dead dog. Okay, so imagine, Leanna, you are walking down the street, and then you see like your favorite store, right? And it's got whatever it is you maybe you like to buy, purses or something like, or maybe it's a restaurant. Like, think about like a place that you really like, really highly reviewed, amazing. And then across the entrance, across the doorstep, is a dead dog. And in order to go get into the store, you have to step over the dead dog. Now it's not going to bite or anything. I mean, it's just, you just have to step over the dead dog to get into the store, right? Most people are like, I'm just going to I'm going to keep walking,
Yep.
right? And so when there's a negative review, when someone leaves a negative comment on that Facebook post, when there's negative anything, especially on social media, the dead dog, we need to come up with like a better thing. But I think this is the perfect analogy, because you could be doing everything right. Your ads could be great. You'd be answering the phone. Like, why aren't people coming into my store? Why aren't people buying? My landing page is good. Why aren't people signing up for the thing? Right? Well, often you have to find all the dead dogs in your
Yeah.
business.
Yep. Yeah. And it could even be while they're Googling. I've had that happen too with a client where
Yeah.
the ads looked fine. And then we Googled and found things happening on Trustpilot, on Reddit, on,
Yeah.
all these other things happening. And that was affecting how people were responding in Facebook as well.
And even if you don't see it on your site or on your Yelp or your Google My Business or whatever it is, people, before they buy from you, especially if it's a higher ticket professional service or whatnot, they're going to search your company name and your company name plus reviews. So if you search your company name plus reviews and you see anything bad in there, you probably should take care of that, instead of like, we need to like optimize our ad campaign. I'm going to blame the agency because it's not going to, well, this dead dog is the thing that's hurting.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, people Google, and now people also ask ChatGPT,
Yeah.
which
Before they come to your site.
exactly,
Even.
which is pulling from Google, right? Like
Yes.
you said. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. So, Leanna, give us, and we're going to repurpose this into lots of pieces, right? Give us an example of, not like some amazing campaign, but some example that the people can take away. Something that you've done that other people can follow the recipe.
Sure. So, well, I'll give you an example of a local traffic summit
Okay.
that I ran, and we ran very, very simple ad campaigns. So we had, just so you know, we had the landing page that said, enter your email. Dennis was actually part of this. Enter your email to attend the local traffic summit. And the ads that I put up were very simple. I put a campaign up. It was, targeted geographically to US and Canada. And I had one interest only. That was it. I think it was like small business owner. And my ads were all images. I didn't even do videos at the time. They were just images. And I actually used ChatGPT to give me 5 different headlines. And I put the headline over the image. Some of the images were colors, but one of them actually took off. It was a background of brownies, like nothing to do with local traffic, but it was just brownies. Yeah, and then I had ChatGPT write, the some of the text in there, and I just edited it, but I just kept it very, very simple. I was like, free traffic summit for small business owners. Sign up. And the brownie one actually ended up being the winner for those. I tried to do fancy. I had one with like Dennis and me and the other speakers, and that just didn't work as well. The other thing, by the way, I did is I did make sure that the way it looked, I don't have a copy of it to show you, but the way it looked, I made sure it looked like something you would come across on Instagram. Like those bubbles around the words.
Yeah.
That's it. I put it up in probably like, I don't know, 15 minutes.
Because it didn't look like an ad.
It didn't look like an ad. It just looked like somebody shared it, right? From Instagram.
Yeah. Increasingly what works is stuff that do the exact opposite of what these other people tell you should do, or whatever you think an ad would look like.
Yeah.
Because people, I think, are too smart when it comes to, like you can spot an ad.
Yeah. You can go into the Facebook ads library, you can find people's ads in there, and I think that's what happens, right? They see it, they think, oh, I need to copy what they're doing. Well, first of all, you don't even know how those ads are even performing. So be careful about that. But yes, look at it and then do the opposite. Do the opposite.
This is amazing. So whenever you come across someone like Leanna Ling, You always want to like spend as much time and grab as much juice from her brain and get it into your brain as much as possible. So, Leanna, where can people find you?
They can find me online. Just look for Leanna, the lead gen queen, and I would be happy to let me know that you heard of us at Digicon with Dennis, and I'd be happy to talk to you.
And if you were here in, I was going to say Vancouver because we were in Vancouver last week. If you're here in Toronto and you want to stop by the podcast booth and you want to share something that you've learned from being here, maybe from another speaker, another attendee, or maybe you're a sponsor here, or maybe you're an attendee and you're trying to help small businesses and you're, trying to learn about a particular thing. I'd love to hear from you guys. Stop by. We were here all day today. And if you're going to be around, I think I'm up at 12:40 or 12:50 over there, we're going to do part 2 of what we talked about yesterday, which is dollar a day. So yesterday I was the closing keynote and we didn't have enough time to go through all the stuff because there's too much stuff. But tomorrow we're doing live audits. We're talking about dollar a day and hope to see you guys there. Thank you, Leanna.
Thank you.